Is Kickstart Kenny now? Crybaby Kenny. Hey everybody, Walty Wanderers, buckle up, strap in. We got a hard-hitting, pull no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows or sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. We got a good one to unpackage today. Welcome to the show. I hope everybody's doing great. So today we're going to jump back on the Moto merry-go-round and examine the good, the bad, and maybe even a little bit of the ugly.
No, Walty, not the ugly. Only examine rainbows and sunshine.
No. Somebody's got to read between the lines and look between the ruts. We got some ruts to look through today. Welcome to the show, man. I hope you guys are doing great. So Kickstart had a little bit of a meltdown in Tampa. Now, Kickstart, I think, had already conceded to the fact, along with the rest of the field, that it is now a race for second as the Wonder Boy, the chosen one, the Moto Messiah, had came and dominated them in spectacular fashion. An alien on the bike, efficient, fast, fun-loving. Unfortunately, he did have the crowd turn on him at a small or certain degree, not a full about face. But again, when you attack one of the veterans of the sport the way he did, that was just something that happens. And unfortunately, most of the time we would have let that slide, but because it was the Wonder Boy, we jumped all over it like a cheap suit. That's just the realities of the waters we're swimming in, bro. Calling it like I see it. Am I seeing it right? Let me know. If you're new, get subscribed. Jump over to the community page, bring an open face and some tear-offs. Maybe throw on a pair of work boots and some gardening gloves if that's all you got, because the roast tends to fly. A lot of pulling in there where we examine a lot of these things that the other channels aren't going to go deep diving on because they're too boring, like watching paint dry. Today's race report. No, this is Gladiator Games, blood sport. Come on, man. Just because electric bike intermissions and halftime shows and referees and non-moto celebrities are paid to come get on the camera doesn't mean that this is not blood sport, gladiator games. That's exactly what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. Electric bikes won't fix that. Other sports stars won't fix that. Cross-marketing won't fix that. Nothing's going to fix that. Nothing. Red flags, blue flags, cross flags, tough off flags, anything. Nothing's going to fix the fact that the bikes are gnarly. Now, you can go electric and try to see if that helps, but it won't, because you're still going to have to. This is a bike where you don't have a roll cage. You can eat it just as bad on an electric bike as you can a gas-powered bike. And because you're now eliminating the sound of the bikes, that's part of the, the roar of those motors are what makes the live events so great. I'm sure you're some nerd somewhere, some statistician is somewhere trying to say, well,
maybe if we do this, we can recreate it and it'll still provide, and it'll just take a few years, but eventually the fans will come around.
I don't know. We'll find out. But the reality is this. Kickstart Kenny had a horrible race in Tampa. He went down hard. And, of course, a lot of the riders, Cooper Webb, and then Cooper Webb, and basically the media made El Hombre answer too, and so he's like a deer in the headlights. He's like, the last thing, even I've been a lapper out there, last thing I want to do is interfere with somebody's right. And it's true, but the reality is this. I mean, that's just the way the sport is. And I know there's a big outcry, like, get rid of these privateers, these lappers, it's dangerous. But, it's part of what makes the sport even more exciting. Because, for a lot of us, it's like, you come down to the end of these races, and if some of these leaders are running away, but then we've seen it called in the past, even by the commentating booth, like, they've got a clear track, they should be fine. Like, oh, there's some lappers coming up. This could play into it. And so, this is just a thing. I'm sure I've thought about this. You probably have too, and I would be shocked. It seems you need to start doing this. That's why we go to to some of these local tracks and practice so we can get used to flying around slower riders. That's the only reason they're going to Paula or any of these places, Milestone or wherever for, ride days, is because they need to be able to negotiate and get around slower riders. Because when it comes to race time, you're going to deal with that if you're one of these top dudes. And we got to let these privateers at least have a stab at trying to show, because every once in a while somebody comes out of nowhere, some privateer, and lights it up and smokes a bunch of factory dudes. So you want to eliminate that? You want to take that from these guys? Somebody that's been denied a factory ride, so they had to go figure it out on a lesser bike? We need that. We need the privateers out there. Everything's working fine. Now, it's a definitely uneven playing field because the factory bikes, you used to be able to take a production bike and make it competitive. It's much harder to do that these days. And I understand when these because we wouldn't be having this conversation if the Wonder Boy hadn't gone out, if his brother hadn't gone out, a bunch of other top factory dudes, they start going out, and they've already lost a few, right? Eli was at the back of the pack. So he was a lapper himself. Nobody wants Eli gone. Eli was a lapper in Tampa. Should we get rid of him? No, of course not. So I'm not sure this argument, I get the argument and I understand these guys. And like Cooper was saying, a lot of them, when they're using the blue flag to their advantage. Now, that's the problem because these guys are not going to yield if they're in their own battle. And because the reality is if you're 15th and 16th might pay $500 more for that position. And at that level, plus you're going, even with the money aside, at the end of the year, you want to be at least in the top 20, top 15, because then maybe some top privateer team, you'll be able to actually get a paying contract, not like what we call in the industry a ride only. A lot of these guys are with what's called a ride only. Back in the day, I remember Triple X. We had an available bike, but we didn't have a budget to throw money at the guy. I took the Alabama Slammer. Clark Stiles called the dude on the phone. Somebody's like, hey, you should check this dude out. I checked out his results. I'm like, bro, here's the deal. You got an opportunity. We're going to let you ride a Triple X bike. This thing's sick. But you got to find your own mechanic. And you're going to have to, basically, there's no money. And you got to bring a mechanic. We'll get you to the races. You'll be pitting with the rest of the pros. We're going to give you top equipment. This is your opportunity. This is an opportunity. Jumped all over it. And he was able to segue that into a paying contract the next year with another team, which he shouldn't have because that team was subpar compared to Triple X. And we were in a position to actually pay him the following year because he did blast a couple hole shots or got up front and got his name on TV a few times and clearly used that bike to outperform what he had done previously on his privateer effort. So the reality is this. Now it's gone from the Kickstart Kenny show to the privateer thing. But the reason is because, Kenny, I just saw it and you all saw it too. He falls down off the start, that's just what happens on the start. So he blamed the beta guys. He thought it was Benny Moss. And so he goes and chews him out. If he was going to chew out anybody, should have been Oldenburg. But Oldenburg didn't have a chance because he got pinched, which happens on the start. But even with that aside, he was so frustrated as he's laying on the ground. He kicks Savacci's front wheel like a princess. Like, get out of my way. I'm Kickstart Kenny. I mean, he was pissed. And, I don't really even blame him for that. In fact, I saw it. We all saw it. We're like, that was kind of lame, but kind of get it. Like, you're frustrated. Get out of my way. I got to get on this bike and get going. But, Kickstart Kenny had been in that, he went from like Mookie Fever now. Everybody in his camp is, dude, you're the man, dude, you're the man. He had all of a sudden Kickstart Kenny is like, I got the red plate. Like, I actually in the hunt. Like, I'm in the conversation. And now that the Wonder Boy's out, I can maybe pull this out. I can possibly win a championship. And so the frustration came out. Now, you have to understand, friends, this was probably more than just that type of frustration. I think he's frustrated with the bike. And it was not a good look when he ate it in the sand and he basically tried to thread the needle. He could have shut it down and let those guys get through the sand and then went for his charge. And he went full send. Nothing wrong with that. When you're in race mode, you're going to go full send. This one didn't work out. And he sat there trying to kickstart the bike, not knowing the chain was off of it. And it was a bad look if you got to kickstart your bike anyway, because we see everybody else electric start and gone, electric start and gone, electric start. No, not Kenny. You're kicking the bike, dude. And, it's you signed up for that and you got paid to do that and you segued it into a merchandising campaign. So nobody feels sorry for you anymore that you don't have the electric bike or electric start. Like, we're not like, he needs the electric start if he has electric start. No, you signed up for that. That's what you signed up for. So, I mean, I don't know. This is multi-layered for me. So, if you're, like I said, if you're new, get subscribed, jump over to the community page and participate in some of the polling. We'll do some polling around this stuff. But, the reality is this. Kenny Boy, he was frustrated. And he's probably frustrated on many levels. And he probably thought that with the Wonder Boy out and then Eli hurt, like there's a window now where he actually has a shot. And this is really, I mean, all the riders have admitted it. Not the way I'm about to tell you, but in a roundabout way, they've said, now that the Wonder Boy's out of the picture, the whole thing opens back up. In final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator, as a moto guy that wants to see you not only win on the track, off the track. Understand the waters you're swimming in now. The shark-infested Kickstart. Welcome to the swimming pool, bro. You've been in it more than once. You should be used to it by now. Listen, dude, we understand. It's always where I would be doing, most of us would be doing the same thing. Get these lappers off the track. It costed me my race. It costed me potentially a championship. It costed me a ton of money. But this is Gladiator Games Blood Sport. It's what we signed up for. The separation is a little gnarly now, and as the field thins out, as it always does, it allows more privateers to get into these main events, and that's what we're dealing with now. A lot of times they are the great equalizer. We don't complain when it's a mud race. We say it's the great equalizer. Well, sometimes these privateers can be too, and that's where Welty will be here to blow the lid off it every step of the way, because it's not only what we need, it's in fact what we deserve. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Social media links in the description of this video if you'd like to follow me there, along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, you're going to love the next video. And there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Don't go over the bars. God bless, and I'll see you on the next video.